But that kind of scares me because I think, then I'm not in control. And if I'm not in control, then my fear will overrun me. And then I'll really get caught in the trap of thinking that there's more that I need to do rather than to express who I came here to be. And I get driven by that. And that causes emotions within me. And so all of these issues that I have, that I look at, it's like, why do I get emotionally driven by certain things that happen in my life? It's because I'm hanging on to the past. I'm worrying about why somebody never paid me the amount of money that they owed me. Or why they didn't hire me for this job. You know, I've retired. I've retired from the idea of working. I've retired from the idea of doing anything but what I love to do. So now my saying is if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. If it's not fun, and then there are those times when I load that new software program. And I try to get this brand new digital board to work in my recording studio. And then frustration takes over and I have to stop and remind myself, this is supposed to be fun. There's nothing fun in this. Chris, what do I do? I reach out to somebody. And if they don't respond, I realize it's time for me to move on. So lack and limitation and doubt and self-talk, you know, all that talk, we all have it, right? We talk about ourselves, we tell ourselves things, we make up things to protect ourselves just to delay and postpone this healing and prolong the suffering because we're getting so much value out of it. So what's inside of fear? Value. That's what's inside of fear. There is a false sense of value inside of fear. So for us to overcome our fear, we have to look inside and discover what lives in there. And what's in there? It's the value we're getting out of it. That's all that's in fear. So our aim is to remove any fear, any lack, any negation whatsoever, because that's the only barrier that stands in the way of our greater good. That's it. So when we start to change this subjective medium, does anybody not know what that is? If you don't, sign up for Foundations. It's coming up. We'll teach you about that. But there's this law unto our being that's taking place within us that if we don't get in there and correct all that error thinking, if we don't go in there and reorganize all those ideas, all those memories, all those past impresses that we have experienced in our life, well, we're just going to keep having the same experience we've been having no matter how much meditation we do, no matter how much spiritual practice we do. Because a lot of times we simply use spiritual practice as a means to procrastinate from doing what really needs to do. I love to meditate instead of work on myself. I do. I love to pray. Oh, I can pray. I can write prayers. And I say, oh, God, I got this issue. But I'll deal with that after I pray. But instead of taking the time to look inside and say, okay, so what is driving me? What is this? So what this means to me is that I just have to seem to let go of the past. But then who will I be if I don't have a past and I'm in the now? I'm waiting for somebody else to validate me. See, if I can't validate myself, then fear's driving me. If I can't find that inner spark within myself that sets me on fire for God, so that I can create within myself a greater concept of my oneness with God, so that I can allow God to reach further into every single one of my affairs, so that I can turn over more and more of what I like to control to that which knows how to control everything, and it doesn't need me to tell it how. There is something within each one of us, and that part is not fear. You see, that part is love itself.